Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I'm just a tube sock on a pole.
And I am the third man.
Welcome to episode 208, Bash at the Beach, 1996.
There is no day at the beach. Catch the big one.
Sorry, I had a hard time even comprehending the words. This is no day at the beach. Catch the big one.
Oh, I think I said there is no day at the beach.
It's fine.
Oops.
There, this, whatever. Basically the same meaning.
Close enough. This and there and that and the other.
But I'm trying to remember, is the big belt even on the show? What's the big one?
The one that the Giant's wearing.
Oh, yeah. God, he's so forgettable. Sorry.
Remember, he even says during the show that...
To catch the big one?
Well, as long as he's wearing the belt, everything's okay.
Oh, sure.
Something like that.
Technically, the belt's here, but it's not being defended.
Yeah. See, it's not even obtainable.
Yeah. He's gone tag teaming on this show.
Lots of tag team on this show.
A little bit.
And we call that the Hogan special. Just, tag team so you're on the show, but have to do even less. I didn't say anything. I said that was a trick up his sleeve for the last decade.
True.
So this was the third Bash at the Beach produced by WCW. It would take place on July 7th, 1996 from the Ocean Center in Daytona Beach, Florida, with an attendance of 8,300 people.
Hey, they're doing just a little under King of the Ring, I believe.
Yep.
Just a little bit.
July 7th, 1996. A day that will live in infamy.
It will.
Absolutely.
Because Shane was the third man.
Yes.
Or at least he was one of the contenders for it.
Yes.
He was discussed.
Mm-hmm.
But we are in Daytona Beach, Florida. So Shane, did you do what you do?
I did what I do. We are in Daytona. I know one of the last times we were down in this area was when I came up with that awesome fried fish Reuben deliciousness.
That was so good.
That's still I think that's one of the only pictures that I've saved of everything that I've taken over the last couple of years that I just have to show everybody of, if you ever want to try something different, try this.
Yeah, that was good.
But yes, I did what I do where I searched around to try and find out what's popular in the area, food-wise, beverage-wise, dessert-wise, and I had to do what I often have to do and change things last moment because we are not in Daytona Beach. We are in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and everything that I want that is available in Daytona is not always available when we are recording here in Oklahoma. So the first thing that I found, there's a popular place in Daytona Beach called Starlight Inn. It's more of like a breakfasty type place, but we had a similar named place here in Oklahoma City called Ned Starlight Lounge, which I was all gung-ho on ordering from because they've got some interesting seafood stuff on there, and seafood is all the craze in Daytona Beach. Unfortunately, Ned's is only open for brunch on Sundays, which happens to be the day that we are recording the show. So, last minute, I had to cast another line and reel in a different fish.
So you caught the big one.
I did. The biggin. Big and smoky. We went to Sidecar here in Oklahoma City, and it's I'm trying to think of the full name of it, Sidecar Barley and Wine Bar. Got a couple of their appetizers because I thought, we're at the beach, we're having a bash, we need a couple of good spreads, some snacks, and I got the smoked salmon, which is on their appetizer menu. It's a nice portion of smoked salmon, comes with some stone ground mustard, some jalapeno relish, and a variety of olives. There's some Kalamata, some green, some black, some deliciousness all mixed in there. Comes with some pita. I also got their butcher block because it sounded like good beachy food, some meats and cheeses and breads. Their butcher block came with some pita, some salami.
Prosciutto?
Yeah, prosciutto. That's the word I'm looking for. There's also some sliced sausages on there, another olive blend. There was some, it's like smoky cheddar, I'm not sure what this kind was here, if it was Gouda or, I don't know. There's some orange cheese, some white cheese, and then some, I'm guessing, goat cheese or something like that with some fig preserves, some roasted tomatoes, roasted artichoke hearts. All around a good spread. I told them I just feel like I'm missing a glass of wine. But
Yep. Picnic at the beach.
yeah. So if you're ever in Oklahoma City or in Oklahoma in general, I know they have expanded outside of the city. So Sidecar Barley and Wine Bar, hit them up. They've got good beverages, good wines, good snacks, some good desserts.
I mean, I've never heard of that place.
Now you know.
Now I know. Now I've eaten it.
This meal would actually go real well with the 3 masterpieces that would be released the same weekend as Bash at the Beach.
I'm
Independence Day,
Okay.
Phenomenon,
Yeah.
and Theodore Rex.
I forgot about that one.
Is Phenomenon good? That was like, it's right after Michael, right?
Yeah. Was it? I'm
Right?
trying to remember.
It's either right before or right after.
I'm trying to remember that one.
I remember Michael because I'd seen it more, but I know I saw Phenomenon too, and I think Phenomenon has that Eric Clapton song that stinks.
Change the World.
Yeah,
It's the Grammy Award-winning song of the year.
I know. I dislike Eric Clapton.
You just have to be in the right or wrong mindset, and that song will change your world or it will break your world, because there's been many a times where my world was crumbling and I listened to that and it just turned me around. It made me smile. And there was other times where my world was absolutely crumbling and I listened to it and it just made me want to grab a can of lighter fluid and a match and
Burn it all down.
burn it all down, because everything sucks and it makes you cry.
My dad fucking loves Eric Clapton, so I've just had it heard so much. It's like, come on, dude. He's not even that great of a guitar player.
It was before Michael.
Okay.
Same year.
Same year. This is what John Travolta wasted his newfound
Pulp Fiction.
fame on Pulp Fiction. It's like, guy picked the worst projects. And Michael's a bad movie, but I like it because it's weird. What if an angel fucked?
What if an angel smelled like cookies?
I definitely liked Phenomenon more than Michael.
I don't remember Phenomenon.
What if somebody actually sat around and wrote a song about pies?
But
Me oh my.
But I definitely didn't love Phenomenon.
See, I didn't love Phenomenon. I liked it. Michael is one of those guilty pleasure movies
It's
that
bad, but
I
it's-
don't hesitate to say that I love Michael, because
it makes no sense, but it's entertaining.
Yeah. Andy, I mean, I know we're not talking about Michael, but we're talking about Michael. Andy McDowell and her stupid I want to be a country singer,
Oh, yeah.
or I want to write country music, sitting by the side of the road in the middle of nowhere.
I know.
They're stupid songs, but they get stuck in your head.
Do you know
And
Michael was a Nora Ephron movie?
I did.
I did. Yeah. The thing about...
Like, we're all in agreement Michael's not a good movie, right?
No.
Okay.
It's not.
I love Michael. It's
It's fine that you like it.
But you know that it's not.
I
know
highly
that it's
recommend
not
it to a lot of people, because it's great. That's how I judge a lot of people. Your opinion of Michael?
I like me too. But the Andy McDowell, such a babe, such a bad actress.
Yes.
But I love it when she shows up in a movie, even though she's just not very good.
Yeah. I mean, Groundhog Day, Michael, and
Sex, Lies, and Videotape.
I was gonna say Multiplicity.
Oh.
Those are like 3 of the best, worst Andy McDowell performances on camera. But yeah, Phenomenon. I think the song was better than the movie, but the movie was still all right.
In that movie, isn't he like have ESP or something?
And he gets struck by lightning,
Yeah, and he gets super intelligence and, like,
So it's like Powder without the gay
and
bashing.
telekinesis.
pretty much. Yeah. What if Powder was an adult that lived in a trailer or something like that,
Okay.
and was
What if
married
Powder
to
was less
Keira
creepy? Yeah. That's a movie that I think about a lot, and I would love to rewatch as an adult. Fucking Powder.
Powder was great. Independence Day. This was the one that it was. Yeah, Will Smith is a star.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I
And he's also-
kind of brushed off his acting for several years because, it's the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Oh, it's Bad Boys. Okay, he's got a good one right there. All right. I don't remember if Men in Black came before this, but...
No.
Yeah, Independence Day, it was like, oh yeah, he's a bona fide fucking celebrity now. He's not just a a rapper. He's not just a singer. He's not just a accidental casting in 6 Degrees of Separation. He's a full-fledged fucking star now.
Yeah, Independence Day is it the best or the only good Roland Emmerich movie?
I'm not going to say it's the only one, because Roland Emmerich movies are guilty pleasure movies.
Oh,
Yeah.
made the movie?
They are all the same, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, 2012, Day After Tomorrow, Godzilla.
Oh, Day After Tomorrow I couldn't watch.
I mean, like I said, he is the disaster movie guy now, because he like just did Moonfall.
That's all he does. And they're
yeah,
all the thing
I
where
mean,
it's like
it's
it's a
basically all he
big
does
cast of
now.
people and you check in on them as the world falls apart.
10,000 BC,
Hated it.
White House Down. I mean,
Yeah, I think I've only seen Independence Day and Godzilla.
Well,
Like-
yeah, Independence Day I think would be at the top of the list then, as far as
It's definitely better than Godzilla.
it's definitely his best movie.
it was the.
I mean, he did Stargate and Universal Soldier right before
Oh.
Independence Day.
Oh, well, I mean, Stargate's tight. And I've never
Universal
seen
Soldier is
Universal.
one of those guilty pleasure movies too.
It's Kurt Russell, right?
I mean, literally
No,
all of his.
that's Jean-Claude Van Damme and
Oh.
Dolph Lundgren.
I've heard the Universal Soldier. I think it's Universal Soldier. I think supposedly it has some sequels that are like legitimately actually good.
I don't know.
That people have some cult love. I'll put it that way.
Just
But I could be wrong.
The quality level of Universal Soldier made me not want to watch any of the sequels because I figured this is as good as it's going to get. So why bother?
Yeah.
Yeah, Van Damme and Lundgren together, great movie.
But we'd all agree that Men in Black is better than Independence Day, right? Men in Black's a masterpiece.
Yeah, but Independence Day has Jeff Goldblum.
That's not enough for me.
I think he's got you on that
That's
one.
not enough for me. I've had enough of Goldblum in my life.
You've got the campiness of Randy Quaid.
Yeah, Randy
You
Quaid.
got-
Randy Quaid's
yeah.
more of a draw for me than Goldblum.
It has a little bit of everything in Independence Day.
It's a bigger smorgasbord.
I was going to say Goldberg was in the Return of the second Universal Soldier.
That's right.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of a different.
Yeah, so no,
Project-
sequels were
property.
not better.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking of a different property. It might be. It's another one of those like future soldier properties. Like
Now Stargate, that was Kurt Russell. Wasn't
yeah,
it?
Stargate's
Okay.
type.
TV show was better.
I've never seen
Didn't
Theodore
watch it.
Rex, so I have no input.
I was gonna say I think I own a
Have
copy,
you-
but I don't. I own a copy
Have
of
you
Tammy.
never
82.
watched Theodore Rex? Man?
Because
I've put it
Because
on
it's
at
basically
Blockbuster
hard to find.
because I was working at Blockbuster when it came out on video, but I never actually watched it because we had a kids corner. So all I had to do was make sure that it played.
they took like Whoopi. They had to like
that
like,
movie should
sue
not
her to
be
like
in the kids' corner.
they like pulled her. They like took her to court to like force her to finish the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch your kids while you're at the video stores, people, because
It's not as messed up. It's not.
kids corners.
It's
aren't
not Tammy
always
and the
kids'
T-Rex.
corners. And if you can find a
It's
video
not that,
store,
no.
let me know where it is.
I mean, the best part is when he's in his car, he has the hole for his tail out the back.
Oh yeah, we
great
we
stuff.
watched it with a group of friends over here a couple of years ago.
Like-
It was a good movie for that.
Dinosaurs,
Yes.
a TV show? Absolutely. I'll watch that anytime. Theodore Rex just never did anything for me.
Theodore Rex is a group talk over movie where you guys just
I was not smoking weed at the time, and I don't think, had I been smoking weed, that I would have been able to get the good kind of weed to make that enjoyable.
you didn't have $6 for Theodore Rex.
I didn't need the money for the movie because I worked at Blockbuster.
Oh well, I mean this was in the theater, I imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you gotta pay to get in
I don't
the theater.
think it was there very long, but
No, I mean I don't even know if it's. I think at one point it was difficult to find. I had to like torrent like a VHS rip of it to watch it.
It's like Howard the Duck now. You just can't find copies of that.
Oh really? I have a DVD copy over there.
Oh, I found one at Vintage Stock, but
Yeah, it's out of print or
yeah,
whatever.
when you're searching for it, it's not available.
It's not
because
available. Yeah.
old Peter Jackson doesn't want people to remember that he was behind that movie.
George Lucas.
Well, I thought Peter Jackson had something to do with this one.
Did he? I don't think he did. Did he?
Wasn't he like this?
I know it's a Lucas
Didn't he
production.
write the screenplay?
I don't know. That'd be funny.
no.
No. What movie am I thinking of then?
The
Peter
Friday-
Jackson was involved with, because I thought that was.
I mean, this movie never did go to Theodore Rex. Never did go to theaters.
Oh.
It was supposed to, but
It did not.
the screen tests were so bad that it went straight to video. On that $33.5 million budget that they had back
Jesus.
in 1996.
A few people lost some jobs.
Yeah, a few. Talking about Howard the Duck, like Lucas had to sell off some of his assets because they had just built Skywalker Ranch.
Oh.
And one of the things he sold off was what ended up turning into Pixar.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because he sold it to Steve Jobs.
Dang.
Also, the Howard the Duck is the first quote-unquote Marvel movie in a theater. That was actually in theater. Not the first one made or anything, but the first one that had a theatrical release.
Wasn't... Yeah, I guess the Corman ones weren't official Marvel movies, were they?
Nah. Yeah, you're talking about Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four and Captain America.
I love the Albert Pune Captain America movie. I rented it as a kid and watched it like 5 times. Probably why Captain America is still one of my favorite superheroes.
All right. We...
Sidetracked.
3 masterpieces, like I said. Watch at your own risk on all 3 of them. Even though I'd recommend watching all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk some Bash at the Beach. We see a shark swimming through water, an animated shark. And it gets to the Bash at the Beach logo with the words "Hostile Takeover" underneath. We then see clips of the Outsiders invading Nitro, followed by multiple angles of Eric Bischoff being put through a table at Great American Bash. Tony Schiavone then welcomes us to the show, where he's joined by Bobby the Brain Heenan and Dusty Rhodes for commentary. And they say they haven't seen or heard from Bischoff all day, and they don't know who the third man will be. But Shane already kind of told us who it was.
Yep.
But we go straight to our first match. Psychosis versus Rey Mysterio Jr.
I mean, come on, let's go.
And we haven't seen Psychosis since Super J Cup second stage, episode 175. And the marvelous Mike Tenay joins the booth for this match.
I mean, you know when Mike Tenay shows up on commentary, you're probably in for a treat in the ring and, over the microphone.
Yep. Gotta say, these two, it's good to see them in such clear
quality.
Vision.
Yeah.
Yeah. The previous matches have been a little fuzzy, a little blurry. It's nice to see them all big and bright. So
Yep, crisp and clean. Let those colors on those uniforms, on their gear. Their gear pop. Uniforms.
So Ray goes for a handshake, only for Psychosis to slap him. So the two men begin to trade mat holds and submissions until Mysterio is sent to the floor by a spinning heel kick. Psychosis then flies over the ropes with a tope con hilo, hitting his own head on the railing, but recovers to hit a trio of leg drops.
Is that the spot where his head goes like under the rail?
Yeah.
I was like,
that looked bad.
jeez.
One leg drop inside the ring, one off the top rope, and one across the bottom rope.
Triple threat.
Psychosis then hits a running clothesline for a 2 count, followed by the two ending up on the apron, where Ray monkey flips Psychosis into the ring post.
Posted.
And down to the floor, where Mysterio leaps off the apron with a hurricanrana to send his opponent into the guardrail. Psychosis is then rolled in, followed by Ray nailing a springboard rana for a near fall, before starting to focus on the leg with drop kicks and a leg lock, only for Psychosis to fight back with a drop toe hold and a head scissors. Psychosis hits a huge hot shot across the ropes, before a reverse DDT causes Mysterio to roll out to the floor. But Psychosis follows out to keep up the attack, press slamming Ray across the guardrail.
This is around the time that I noticed, oh no, there's a pole in the corner.
Yeah.
And I couldn't wait to find out what was going to be on it.
Psychosis then heads to the top rope, coming off with a senton to the floor, followed by an enziguri back inside the ring.
I mean, the guys are getting after it. This is kind of first match we love to see, and I know Ted's got deep pockets.
And so much use of the Rana, Frankensteiner, Rana, Frankensteiner, Frankensteiner, Rana.
Franken-Rana?
Yeah.
Psychosis works the back with a camel clutch and a hammerlock, only for Mysterio to recover to speed the match up with athletic reversals into a Rana that sends Psychosis out to the floor. Ray then hits a springboard drop kick to his opponent on the apron, followed by a top rope Rana to send them both down to the floor. Now back in the ring, Mysterio hits a slingshot Arabian press onto Psychosis for a 2 count, followed by a pair of drop kicks that would send his opponent back out to the floor. Rey would land a twisting Asai moonsault onto Psychosis, but would whack his knee on the railing, allowing Psychosis to recover enough that when Mysterio goes for another Hurricanrana back into the ring, Psychosis would just counter into a sit-out powerbomb for a near fall. Rey is then driven into a turnbuckle and set on the top rope for a super splash mountain bomb, only for Mysterio to reverse in mid-air for a Frankensteiner to get the pin and the win. Fun start to this show.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I appreciate the they go to the floor a bunch, but they are respectful of the 10 count, which just makes the moves matter more. Makes when you get thrown into the steel mean something, because you can't just throw each other into the steel for 10 minutes.
Welcome to the big leagues, boys.
Mean Gene's in the back with Konnan, and our U.S. champ explains the ending of the previous match because he's kind of the knowledge on Mexican wrestling, basically.
Yeah, he's like he's the at the moment right now the biggest and most established Mexican wrestler on WCW television, pay-per-view, what have you. The man's got a belt.
Yep.
And Oakland then starts talking about Konnan's hectic schedule. And Gene even believes that Flair is overconfident with Konnan agreeing before threatening anyone who gets involved in the match, including the women.
Uh-oh.
Konnan gonna hit a bitch.
Yeah.
A little bit. Oh, Konnan. I'm glad to see that the KKK has been shaved away.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. K-Dog took some American history classes.
So we go to our second match. Big Bubba Rogers with Jimmy Hart versus John Tenta in a Carson City silver dollar match.
Yeah. That's
about what this match is worth.
a thing, I guess.
One Carson City silver dollar.
So since the last time we saw these two, Big Bubba had continued to haunt the former Shark, attacking him with a sock full of silver dollars and shaving the rest of his beard. So the rules of this match is that there is a loaded sock on top of a pole, and whoever grabs it first can use it. Yeah.
No, not bare knuckles, not brass knuckles, not like a baseball bat.
Nope. Sock full of silver dollars.
Mm-hmm.
It's really funny.
Yep.
And it's just a tube sock. It's just a tube sock full of coins.
And that pole is a good 20 feet high.
It is insanely high. I was like, neither of these guys could get up there if you put $1 million at the end of that fucking pole.
Exactly.
And we're having a Carson City match in Daytona Beach.
I thought of that as well.
I don't even know where the fuck Carson City is.
Nevada.
Cool.
Yeah.
Also, Tenta still has half his head shaved. Poor guy. Poor guy didn't just go into the gas station.
I mean, that shows you what the Dungeon of Doom pays right there. You can't even
afford a haircut.
half a haircut.
So, as Tenta makes it to the ring, Rogers runs from him. But once they're in the ring, Tenta takes him down with shoulder blocks, chokes, and turnbuckle smashes. And John looks to climb up, but Big Bubba stops him and hits his comical windmill punch before trying to go up as well, which Tenta press slams Rogers down to the mat. And John tries the pole again, but once more is brought down, this time with a back suplex by Rogers. And Big Bubba goes up, only for Tenta to knock him down, causing him to crouch himself, followed by atomic dropping him onto the top turnbuckle as well. John then tosses Rogers out to the floor and returns to the pole and realizes that he's not getting up there. So he decides to try and bring it down to him by unstrapping the pole from the ring. Which I was kind of like,
Smart.
that's actually pretty smart.
Yeah. And it's weird the scissors they give him. They're like surgery scissors. They're very funny looking.
Now Big Bubba has recovered by this point, returning to the ring with his belt in hand, choking Tenta with it before taping John to the ropes with athletic tape. And Roger starts whipping Tenta with the belt before grabbing scissors to cut the rest of John's hair. But Tenta goes low with a kick, allowing him to grab the scissors and cut the tape. John then tries to use the scissors to cut the straps, holding the pole, but Big Bubba stops him with headbutts and a spine buster. And now Rogers realizes that he's not climbing up the pole either. So he tells Jimmy Hart to do it instead. And Hart shimmies to the top and grabs the sock. But while this is happening, Tenta has delivered a power slam to Rogers. So once Jimmy slides down to the ropes, John's sitting there waiting, takes the sock, and nails Big Bubba for the win.
Whack.
Good on Jimmy Hart. He really got up there. Mm-hmm. And we all know he's not a young man, but he is an invincible man.
He's probably like 41.
You think so? I mean, I get it. 61 maybe?
Maybe. Post-match, Tenta opens up the sock and dumps the coins on Rogers, even placing a couple on his eyes. So he has entry to Hades.
Yeah, I think it's funny that he's like, I bet this would look cool on TV, and then you watch it and you're like, just move on.
Yeah. Can't pay attention to anything that you're doing because your stupid hair is distracting you. So pick up a few of those coins, go to the barber, or go find Booty Man. I'm sure he's still got some clippers somewhere for you.
Tony starts begging Bischoff to call them if he's watching. Like, do you really think he's just chilling at home watching the show? Like,
yeah, I mean, you don't think nobody else has tried? But yeah, people have been trying to call him. He knows where he needs to be. This is, this is his job.
We go to the back, and Mean Gene is there with Team WCW, and they're all wearing Sting face paint.
Nice touch.
Okerlund asks Macho Man if he knows who the third man is, with Savage saying he doesn't care. They will get hurt, no matter what. Is this when you decided not to be the third man? Because Savage threatened your life?
No, I'm not the third man of this show. I'm the third man of this show.
Okay, I didn't get it.
I was going to keep a running joke up with that you're the third man of this show.
No.
So Luger then says they are prepared, calling it an honor and a privilege to represent WCW. And he continues by trying to make a point with Macho yelling at him to get at it already. So Lex says the outsiders talked a lot of trash, but actions speak louder than words. And Sting speaks about the unknown, and it gives him dry mouth, chills, and goosebumps. But he likes it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It was pretty good for a Sting promo.
Mm-hmm.
Savage then says they're pumped before everyone yells, growls, and poses. And we go to our third match. Diamond Dallas Page versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
He's back.
In a taped fist match for the Battlebowl ring. And the story behind this match is that DDP had accused Hacksaw of stealing his ring. But Duggan claimed that he found it on the floor of a bathroom. And Hacksaw returned it to Page, but would then punch him with a taped fist.
Found it on the floor of a bathroom, eh?
This is a little convoluted.
Like Diamond Dallas doing some shady stuff in the bathroom for that benefactor of his? Perhaps?
Hey, we get Crab Cam, guys.
Oh, you know what I love?
No fucking way.
Crab cam.
So they attached a camera to a little toy crab and let it run around the beach area that was near the entrance.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Looks like a first-person shooter, but if you were a crab.
Yep.
I miss the old Bobby...
Illustrator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bobbytron or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, it's crazy that he didn't bring that over at all into WCW.
I mean, it's not like they couldn't afford it.
I got $10.
Mm-hmm. I mean, no, he's got a news company. He's probably just got one of those sitting in the back room.
Yeah, no shit.
So the match gets going with Duggan hitting a shoulder block to send DDP out to the floor to start. But once Page returns, he's able to hotshot Hacksaw across the top rope to knock him down. DDP then ties Duggan's feet around the ring post with athletic tape, allowing Page to find scissors to cut the tape off of Hacksaw's fists.
Hey guys.
We just did the scissors spot.
We tape in the two matches back to back. Got to be better than that.
96, the year of this. Wait, no, the year of the scissor. No, I think it was 2022.
I mean, it might have been 96, and then it's just it's retro now.
True.
Yeah, they might have been born in 96.
Very true. I mean, yeah, we just we saw old daddy ass last week getting it on with Sonny, so yeah, could be the year of the scissor.
The ref finally frees Duggan on the outside. So when they make it back to the ring, DDP hits a headbutt, which ends up sending Paige stumbling into the ropes,
I mean, look at that melon on Hacksaw.
where Hacksaw seesaw punches DDP until he falls out to the floor. And Duggan falls out to whip Paige into a guardrail and the ring post,
Posted.
before bringing DDP back into the ring the hard way. Hacksaw goes for another suplex, but Paige blocks by grabbing hold of the ropes and reverses it into a single armbreaker takedown. And DDP goes up top, only for Hacksaw to fall into the ropes, causing Paige to crotch himself, allowing Duggan to take control with a faceplant, turnbuckle smashes, and a clothesline that sends DDP out to the floor. And Hacksaw would follow out to continue the punishment with right hands, before rolling Paige in. And so when Duggan would try to re-enter the ring, DDP would kick the rope into Hacksaw's crotch, before delivering a diamond cutter for the pin and the win.
I was so afraid that they were just like, all right, well, Duggan's back. Do the job, Paige. But it's like, come on. Paige is establishing himself.
I like the kick the rope into the crotch. It's
Yeah.
kind of a different way of doing things.
Yeah, and you could tell what happened when it happened. Maybe, yeah, Dallas is just like, some things can look kind of real even though they're silly. Unlike these seesaw punches you have me working so hard for.
Post-match, Duggan immediately stops selling and begins to tape his fist while Paige celebrates. So when DDP turns, Hacksaw punches him, knocking him out.
I mean, DDP's doing the Lord's work for the WCW mid-card recently.
Yep. Johnny's gone, so somebody's got to pick up the slack.
Yep. And DDP is a more dynamic character, even though I got some love for
Oh yeah,
Johnny B. Bad.
Any of us
Like
could
Mark
be,
Marrow? No, I mean that's his real name.
Any of us could be DDP, but there's really only one Johnny.
Yeah, not everybody has that bone structure.
Mean Gene's in the locker room with the Giant, Kevin Sullivan, and Jimmy Hart. And Okerlund thinks that their opponents will prevent the Giant from entering the ring and will just double team the Taskmaster. And Sullivan says the Horsemen think that he's the weak link, before telling Mean Gene to ask the Giant if that's true, with the champ reassuring the Taskmaster that he isn't the weak link, calling him the backbone of the Dungeon of Doom. The Giant would continue by saying he takes exception to the Horsemen calling themselves the Elite, the Elite, the Elite.
I think Kevin Sullivan's more of the footstool of the Dungeon of Doom.
Because he's the elite one, because he's the champion, before threatening to make horse stew.
Horse shit.
Hey, at least he's not rhyming.
We then go to Lee Marshall, who's on the beach set with Arn Anderson and Chris Benoit. And Lee says that one of them will get a title shot if they win the tag match. But Double A wants to discuss the outsiders first. And he continues by saying he's no fan of Sting, Luger, and Savage, but does think that they will win, before daring them to jump the Horsemen next. And the Enforcer then says that people in Daytona warned him that Sullivan would beat him up for what he did. But he's not worried, because they're going to chop the Giant in half, till he's only 3'6". And Benoit calls himself silent but violent, and has tolerated the Dungeon of Doom for way too long. And tonight they will finish it, and he will leave Sullivan for dead.
I like that silent but violent.
Yeah.
The quiet crippler.
Yeah, that should have been a T-shirt. Maybe it will be. Maybe it was. Who knows?
Maybe that'll be our next T-shirt re-release.
I forgot the count, but you
first
know,
T-shirt re-release.
Yeah, I don't think we made a T-shirt.
Silent but violent.
Came up with a T-shirt.
Silent by design.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Chris Benoit shirts are fucking flying off the shelves, guys.
I mean, we don't.
If somebody's out there wearing one, they're just kind of being they're being a little edgy.
They're wearing it under their undershirt.
No, if they're wearing it out loud and proud, it's like.
So we then go to our fourth match, the Nasty Boys of Jerry Sags and Brian Knobbs versus Public Enemy of Rocco Rock and Johnny Grunge in a double dog collar match.
To which I say, Yuck.
Yeah, when I saw the collars in the ring, yeah, that was kind of my first take on it too. Was oh brother.
But hey, I feel like I haven't heard the Nasty Boys song in a while.
True.
Probably because we haven't seen them since Super Brawl 6,
Hey.
episode 189.
It seems like they got some new shirts or something because they seemed extra bright compared to their normal paint splatter thing.
Oh yeah.
Maybe it's just brighter lights in the building or something. But
Yeah, maybe it might just be a newer building. So
maybe
maybe some better cameras.
Maybe it's because I hadn't seen them in a while, so they just didn't look as nasty as I remembered because they cleaned up in their time off.
The Nasty Boys, like Public Enemy is the Nasty Boys for bingo halls.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, Nasty Boys versus like Nastier Boys.
So once all 4 men are hooked up in their collars, everyone immediately starts brawling to the floor. So we'd go to what Dusty calls a double trouble bash at the beach bubble. Or a split screen.
Yes, and
yes,
you know what?
He did say that.
Can you imagine like getting this pay-per-view on your like 27-inch television in 1996, and then it goes split screen, but they're like 1-inch squares because the rest of it's just like, you know, Saved by the Bell graphics.
So chains, chairs, and trash cans are all used as weapons when Rocco tries walking a rail, only for Sags to crotch him. And they fight their way to the beach set, where Knobs hits Johnny with an inflatable shark,
Oh my gosh, I've heard
Rock.
those are dangerous.
while Rock is hit with a surfboard by Jerry.
That's more like it.
No, not the wrestling move. An actual
An
surfboard.
actual surfboard, yes. These guys are not doing moves.
Rocco uses a life preserver and then starts to climb the lifeguard stand as Grunge bulldogs Brian onto the boardwalk.
On the boardwalk.
And Rock leaps off with a somersault senton onto Sags before climbing up again the lifeguard stand. But this time Jerry just pulls it over, sending Rocco down to the floor.
And now it's splattered with blood. No, it's not. There's no blood yet.
Elbow drop by Knobs on Johnny for a 2 count before everyone starts making their way back towards the ring, where Sags suplexes a table onto Rock.
We've got trash everywhere, and I couldn't agree more. Commentator that said that.
Grunge then sets the same table up, with all of them fighting around it and on top of it, until Jerry pile drives Rocco onto the concrete, but Johnny makes a save on the pinfall.
Mm-hmm. And when they're battling in the sand, Bobby says, I'd hate to follow these guys around with a pooper scooper, and I think he's just getting in a jab, letting us know that this is shit. Working so hard to be so uncompelling, that's not even a word.
Sags charges at Rock, who sidesteps, sending Jerry onto the table, followed by Rocco leaping off a guardrail with a splash to send them through the table. Knobs with a leg drop for a 2 count in the aisleway before everyone returns to the ring, where another table is brought in.
Dun dun dun.
And Brian is tossed face first into the table by Grunge, followed by Rock making it in to set the table up, placing Jerry on top.
You got to do it in the ring so you get a nice clean shot for your future packages.
And Rocco climbs to the top, but he's yanked off by Sags, right into the table. But he just bounces off.
Boing.
They didn't gimmick the table. He doesn't use that many tables.
Rock is then placed on the table with Jerry heading up top for a chain-assisted flying elbow. But the table still doesn't break.
Boing, boing.
I am the table! And they decide that this table is the bane of their existence. So Johnny gets hung over the ropes by Knobs, with Brian stretching his chain out, while Sags whips Rocco into that chain, makes the cover for the pin, and the win. Post-match, Public Enemy attacks the Nasties, while Knobs grabs a chair, but Johnny nails him with the chain. And Rocco finally breaks that table by slamming Sags onto it,
For good measure.
followed by an elbow drop from the apron.
3rd time's a charm. And that elbow drop looked like it hurt.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we already know that table really had no give to it, so... Yeah, I think falling onto it while it was broken may have hurt more than falling onto it while it wouldn't break.
Did you guys remember the Public Enemy come out and do their hand thing?
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't really work in previous times on WCW. Daytona's turned up. They were with him. They did the hand thing.
Okay. I didn't notice that.
But it doesn't really matter because they lost.
This is the Public Enemy that I knew because I didn't watch ECW back in the day, so...
And yeah.
That's why when they debuted in ECW, my face kind of looked like this because it was just like, cool.
I mean, I imagine if you had never seen WCW, or ECW, this is something, this is wild. We've seen smatterings of this stuff in WCW over the last couple of years, but I think this might be the one with maybe the most garbage. I don't know. Harlem Heat's had some...
Oh, this is definitely the most garbage show.
Yes.
I'm not talking just the wrestling. So Mean Gene's backstage near the Outsiders locker room, and it's surrounded by security guards when Okerlund threatens to go to a lawyer if they touch him. And he wanted to get a word with them, but they don't want to talk. So Mean Gene just begins to speculate about who the third man is.
Who could it be now?
So we go to our fifth match. Disco Inferno versus Dean Malenko for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. And the story behind this match was that Disco had interrupted one of Dean's matches, calling it boring and wanting to show off his gold record instead. And Inferno would start dancing until Malenko would attack him.
Don't talk shit on the Iceman.
That's right. So Disco comes out and he takes the mic, calling Dean Mr. Personality, before inviting everyone to his disco dance party. And Malenko hits the ring, slapping Inferno and throwing him to the floor, descending him into a guardrail and a ring post.
Posted.
Back in the ring, Dean keeps up the attack with clotheslines and a leg lariat, before hitting a brainbuster, turnbuckle smashes, a back suplex, and a figure four. Malenko's now focusing the punishment on the knee, working at STF, more turnbuckle smashes, and a sunset flip for a 2 count. But Disco begins to fire up with right hands and a hot shot across the top rope for a near fall. Continues with a turnbuckle smash, but Dean hits a headbutt to the gut to back Disco up.
Dean, we're going to have to call you on the headbutt to the gut. But outside of that, you're doing great. The headbutt to the gut, not so believable.
It's one of 1,000 moves, man.
It is one of 1,000 moves.
Disco is then tossed to the floor, where Malenko would run Inferno into a guardrail again, before they would head back into the ring, where Dean would work one of his 1,000 holds and a slingshot leg drop, until Disco rallies again with right hands and elbows, before blocking an axe handle and nailing a neck breaker for a 2 count. Inferno would follow up with a back body drop and another neck breaker, but he would decide to dance, so only a near fall. And kind of the story of the match was that he always just starts dancing instead of
continuing,
and that's why he loses matches. And that was kind of the story the commentators were telling.
Yeah, it's like he gets the edge for a second and can maybe turn the tides, but the man is compelled to dance.
That's right.
Dean would then reverse a whip and follow in with a slingshot dropkick. He would go for the cloverleaf, but Disco would counter with a small package for a 2 count. Inferno would nail a clothesline for a near fall, but Malenko would come back with a clothesline and toss Disco to the ropes. Dean would try for a dropkick, only for Inferno to have held onto those ropes. The two would then fight over a backslide, but Malenko would reverse it into a double underhook powerbomb, followed by transitioning it into a Texas Cloverleaf for the submission and the win.
Yeah, I haven't seen much Disco Inferno, and I always assumed that, he was bad. And granted, he's in there with Dean Malenko, so, he's got somebody in there that's not going to make him look terrible. But I think he did a fine job here.
Oh, yeah.
I always just assumed Disco was boo-boo, but maybe it's just his gimmick. What do you got?
I want you to remember those words, because this might be the best Disco Inferno match we ever watched.
I absolutely believe you, but it's just funny, because I was like, this was a solid match.
It was an enjoyable match.
But, Dean Malenko could probably work with one of us and make it entertaining.
We get a gentleman's 3 wrestling Dean Malenko, and we don't know how to wrestle. So.
No.
We go to our 6th match. Desperado Joe Gomez versus Steve Mongo McMichael with Debra.
And a dog.
Ditka.
Ditka.
Yeah, Pepe didn't like the heel turn, so he stayed at home.
Joe who?
Joe Gomez.
Gomez.
The Desperado.
Yes.
Okay.
So the story behind this match was that the Horsemen had attacked Gomez and the Renegade backstage,
Oh.
with Mongo hitting him in the head with his briefcase. Yeah.
Briefcase gimmick going.
We get more Crab Cam.
Crab Cam. Joe Gomez kind of looks like he could be Mongo's like little brother or son. Like they have very similar faces.
Yeah, there was one time where I looked up at the screen. I had to stop for a second just to figure out who was who.
Yeah, it's like maybe that's the angle they should have done.
So Mongo uses chops and shoulder blocks early on before delivering a 3-point stance clothesline.
Gomez.
The Desperado fights back with chops and a crossbody, but McMichael takes him to a corner for more shoulder blocks. Gomez blocks and reverses a turnbuckle smash, only for Mongo to then mule kick down low to regain control. McMichael follows up with a punt to the ribs and begins focusing on the midsection with a backbreaker before locking the Desperado in a camel clutch. Gomez breaks free, but he runs into a sleeper, only to then escape with a jawbreaker. Gomez would then telegraph a back body drop, allowing Mongo to nail a reverse neckbreaker for a 2 count. And he would go for the figure 4, but the Desperado would roll him up for a near fall. McMichael with a body slam attempts an elbow drop, only for Gomez to roll out of the way. But Mongo recovers and goes for a pile driver, which the Desperado counters with a back body drop, and then starts hitting chops and multiple drop kicks, before tossing McMichael to the ropes and telegraphing that back body drop again, allowing Mongo to hit a sunset flip. But he doesn't get him over, so the Desperado just sits on him for a 2 count, followed by McMichael finally being able to pull him over for a near fall. Mongo then would lift Gomez up for a tombstone pile driver for the pin and the win.
And he pins him with his hand on his throat, which I'm pretty sure is illegal.
He's trying to be a badass.
I know. But I will say, Joe Gomez has better rights than a lot of guys working today. His punches looked good. Mm-hmm. That was something that I noticed. It's like, damn, those look a lot better than a lot of the ones I see on all the promotions that I step in and out of today.
So Mean Gene's in the back with Ric Flair, Miss Elizabeth, and Woman.
Woman's teasing Mean Gene.
He's very distracted by her. So the Nature Boy begins without him, predicting victory for all of the Horsemen. And he starts singing La Cucaracha, La Cucaracha, while talking about styling and profiling, thinking Konnan is a man of 1,000 holds.
No.
Wrong champion, H. And Gene wants to speak to the ladies, asking Liz about the party she's throwing with Savage's money, when Woman would offer him a private party.
Wink, wink.
And Flair begins to mock Macho Man, so Mean Gene claims Rick has said it all, with the Nature Boy replying, "Not only said it all, done it all. Woo!"
And Rick is fucked up.
A little bit.
He was Mean Gene's just like, dude, let me finish this segment.
Like when Woman has to lead the promo, you know Flair isn't quite there.
Yeah, he's chewing a hole in the side of his mouth.
So Oakland decides to not go to the party, but Woman doesn't believe him and starts to touch him again, as Gene says they're going to have a pole vaulting competition.
Hell yeah, Mean Gene. You dirty little comedian, you.
Every old man got a perv, and in this case, on camera.
I mean, he's the most charming man to do it.
So we go to our 7th match. Konnan versus the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, with Woman and Miss Elizabeth, for the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship. The champion came out first. Foreshadowing.
And Konnan is currently our Mexican heavyweight champion, not ours. It's not a WCW title, but he's got the belt with him.
That's right. He just needs a Canadian championship to have all of North America.
Trying to double up here.
So Konnan has tape on his head, and it was because the ladies had attacked him with her shoes.
Oh.
That's kind of what basically led to this match.
Okay.
So Nate toys with Konnan to begin, shaking his hand and taking him to a corner, only to back away, before the two men would trade headlocks, pin attempts, drop kicks, and slaps. Flair would use a cheap shot to nail some chops, but Konnan would respond with a back body drop and a surfboard stretch. Konnan would keep up the attack with multiple press slams, chops, and a pair of clotheslines that end up with them on the floor. And Konnan climbs to the apron while the ladies come to check on the Nature Boy. So when the champ comes flying off with a diving clothesline, he hits Miss Elizabeth down as well.
Uh-oh.
Elizabeth down.
Said he's going to hit even the women. And
They get in the way.
Miss Elizabeth was a starter.
I mean, she's probably been hit before.
Konnan
can
climbs
cut
to the
that.
top turnbuckle now, but Woman starts shaking the ropes, causing him to crotch himself and fall off to the mat. Nate would take advantage with a running knee drop for a 2 count, chops, and an eye poke, which causes the ref to admonish Flair. But the distraction allows Woman to come into the ring to kick Konnan's cojones. Now Miss Elizabeth climbs to the apron, so the ref has to deal with her, allowing the Nature Boy to toss Konnan over the ropes to the floor, where Woman rakes the eyes. Nate then brings Konnan in the hard way for a near fall, before applying a headlock, which the champ escapes with elbows and begins to fire up with chops and mounted punches for a Flair flop. Konnan then sends the Nature Boy to a corner for a Flair flip out to the apron, with the champ following in with a springboard dropkick that sends Nate out to the floor. Now back in the ring, Konnan's delivering right hands when the ref stops him, allowing Flair to cheap shot the champ, toss him to the ropes, only for Konnan to attempt a sunset flip, but the Nature Boy stays up and punches down. Nate then goes for the figure 4, but Konnan counters into a small package for a 2 count, followed by a drop toe hold before locking on a figure 4 of his own. And Flair makes his way to the ropes, only for the ref to kick his hands away. Maybe he forgot that the Nature Boy was the one in the hold, not putting on the hold.
Yeah, that was the spot again. I had to rewind.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not used.
What the fuck did I miss here?
It's like, I'm so not used to this. Normally, Rick's. Yeah.
But then Nate grabs the ropes again, forcing the break. And Flair would roll out to the apron, so Konnan brings him in with a vertical suplex for a near fall. Tosses the Nature Boy to a corner, only to charge into a back elbow. And Nate then heads up top, where Konnan press slams him off to the mat, followed by a bulldog for a 2 count and a rolling clothesline for a near fall. Flair would reverse a whip and go for a hip toss, but Konnan would counter into an ab stretch before rolling Nate over for a cover. But the ladies have both climbed up onto the apron, with Miss Elizabeth distracting the ref. Konnan is sent to the corner where he leaps up and over a charging Flair, only to receive chops and a backbreaker. And Konnan makes it back to his feet when Woman would crack him across the head with her shoe, allowing the Nature Boy to make the cover for the pin, and with his feet on the ropes, the win. And new!
Via drive-by shoeing.
Yeah, that little end sequence took way too long. They were like out of position.
Yeah.
Like Woman's like sitting there like,
Yeah, she's like, "Ooh, get over here.
yeah, I can only reach so far.
I'm starting to look pretty silly. Yeah. I do love how much Rick gave Konnan, but he won like a true heel.
This is the thing about, because they've kind of put Flair down in the U.S. Championship picture because the heavyweight picture is all mangled up with what's going on, and he goes down here and just starts having fun because he can just have great matches with people, basically.
Yeah, he doesn't have to close the show, so he can do a little blow in between and
just kind of be silly and just have a good match. And
I mean, yeah, this is a super entertaining match.
yeah. So we go to Mean Gene. He's in the back, and he's outside the Outsiders' locker room once again.
Trying to eavesdrop.
And he says he can hear voices inside, and a third man has joined them. And the voices are muffled, but Okerlund finds one of them very familiar. stirring something in his subconscious.
Which is so funny. It's such an unmistakable voice behind that door.
Does he say brother a lot?
Like, I thought you needed your security guards and your 30 feet of distance between you and a door. How are you suddenly so brave enough that you can stand there and touch the handle?
Maybe they were on a smoke break.
No, they were talking. Or the security. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Mean Gene then asks Tony if he knows anything. And of course, Shivani's no help because he just asked Okerlund to make a guess.
Has Shivani ever been a whole lot of help? I like him, but I'm just saying.
Heenan then chimes in to have Gene bribe the cops for info. And Okerlund almost does, but decides that that's a terrible idea. And they talk about Bischoff, and there's still no update on that front.
They're so worried about Eric.
I mean, he's the president. Like, he should be at the show.
Totally should. Totally should. Where are you, Eric?
So we go to our 8th match. The Horsemen of the Enforcer, Arn Anderson, and the Crippler, Chris Benoit, versus the Dungeon of Doom of the Giant and the Taskmaster with Jimmy Hart. And if the Horsemen win, then one of their members will get a WCW title match on Nitro, with all of them implying that it would go to Flair.
I mean, you know, I'd love to see it go to Arn or Chris, but I mean, it's Ric Flair's Ric Flair. He's the leader of the Horsemen.
As long as it's not Mongo, I'm okay.
Yeah, no shit.
Mongo versus the Giant.
Yeah, that's a big old shit sandwich.
It's got Starcade written all over it.
I was going to say, just shitting all over the good name of Starcade, but Starcade's good name isn't that good once you start running down some cards.
No. Starcade's good name kind of stopped being good after 1983.
Fuck. Shots fired.
So the Dungeon jumped the Horsemen during their entrance, with Sullivan tossing Double A into guardrails, using chairs, when Mongo would come running out to nail the Giant with his briefcase.
Foreshadowing.
So the Giant would chase him to the back, allowing the Horsemen to take control of the Taskmaster in their corner, making frequent tags. Sullivan looks to fight back with right hands and biting, but it's not enough as Arn tosses the Taskmaster out to the floor, where the Crippler and Sullivan trade, ramming each other into the guardrail, before the Taskmaster drags Anderson out to the floor as well, to throw him into the steel. Back in the ring, the Enforcer cuts off Sullivan, keeping him from making a tag, as the Giant has finally made his way down to the ring, allowing the Horsemen to regain control with body slams, chops, headbutts, and ramming the Taskmaster into a corner. Sullivan kicks away both men and delivers a double noggin knocker, but he falls over, so the Horsemen jump back on him to prevent a tag. Now Double A attempts a DDT near the ropes, only for the Giant to clothesline him from the apron, causing the Taskmaster to fall on top of Arn for a 2 count. The Crippler tags in and takes Sullivan to the top turnbuckle, when the Giant would come into the ring, so Benoit would leap off with a crossbody, only for the big man to catch him and throw him onto Anderson, who had just jumped into the ring as well. The Giant goes back out to the apron, but the Taskmaster still hasn't recovered. So the Horsemen go back on the offensive with an ab stretch and leg locks, when the Enforcer would try for a pump splash, only for Sullivan to get his knees up on Double A. Benoit would get tagged in again to slow the momentum, before bringing Arn back in to attempt a spike piledriver. But the Taskmaster counters, catapulting Anderson into the Crippler on the turnbuckle. Sullivan would then hit a back suplex of the Enforcer, before crawling over to his corner to make the
hot tag. More like a giant tag.
The Giant enters the ring while Benoit and Taskmaster start brawling their way to the beach set and to the announcer stage. Double A rolls out, but the big man gives chase, catching up with him to nail a big boot, a vertical suplex, and a choke slam for the pin and the win. Post-match, Crippler and Sullivan continued to fight, with Benoit diving off the commentator's platform onto the Taskmaster. And they would return to the ring, where the Crippler would deliver a super back suplex and would just keep stomping away on Sullivan. And all of a sudden, a woman would come out, begging Benoit to stop.
Chris, stop.
because he's going to hurt Sullivan. And at this time, it wasn't really public knowledge that Woman and Sullivan were married in real life.
Yeah.
Today, we would we would know that they were dating.
Yeah.
You know?
There's no internet, and it's not, you'd have to be in the know.
Exactly.
It'd be a real dweeb to know this at the time.
You at least have to know her name was Nancy Sullivan.
Good point.
So the Giant finally realizes that he left the Taskmaster behind. So he returns to the ring to chase away the Horsemen and carry Sullivan to the back.
Aw. Little buddy.
No Taskmaster left behind.
Tony then sends us to a video package where we get highlights of the Outsiders showing up with fake newspaper headlines scrolling across the screen, such as, "A hostile takeover is underway in WCW," as we see Scott Hall showing up the first time. "This is it, WCW, where the big boys play," and Sting confronts Outsiders, as Hall interrupts the announcer's booth with Sting coming out to confront him. The man shows up with a big surprise. Daring duo has not divulged man number 3, and Outsiders rock WCW once again, as Hall brings Nash with him during another interruption. Who is the third guy? Great American Bash. Bischoff is attacked, with a scene from Great American Bash. Stop the Outsiders, as we see shots of Luger, Macho Man, and Sting. War is on, and the hostile takeover. What's next for WCW? As the Outsiders would jump the railing with security keeping them out of the ring. There's a lot of speculation regarding man number 3, and all wrestlers have banded together, as we would see security remove the Outsiders from the building on a different interruption. We then get the Bash at the Beach logo with the headlines, "Don't miss history in the making. The hostile takeover. War is on. And who is the third man?"
You would think that the tagline for the show would be,
Who is the third man?
"Who is the third man? A hostile takeover." Like,
The war is on.
the-
Something, I don't know.
yeah, something about them fighting for WCW.
You'd think if they were going to go through and make this little video package, that you'd make it a little better. Like, the clips and everything were great, but it was just quiet with music playing.
It's also the same exact highlights that they showed in the opening.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It wasn't anything different.
yeah, they didn't really dramatize it too much
No.
more.
It's...
Granted, it's already hot. Why spend the extra money?
So we go to our 9th match. Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and a mystery third man.
Third man.
And I noticed that they never say their names until towards the end of this show.
Yeah, they're just
They're
the
just
outsiders.
the outsiders.
Yeah.
Versus Lex Luger, Sting, and Macho Man Randy Savage. So the story behind this match, we know Hall and Nash showing up, but the way that Teams WCW decided on their team. WCW did a random draw.
And they picked the 3 most over
They chose...
that weren't Ric Flair.
They had the top 6
Or baby
guys
faces.
based on their win-loss records, and they put those names in a hat. Flair, Giant, Hogan, Lex, Macho Man, Sting. Those were the 6. So, basically, because we all know who the third man is, basically it was to go, well, this is the reason why Hogan's not here. This is the reason why Flair's not in this match. This is the reason why Giant's not in this match.
Yeah.
It's these 3 guys because it was this random draw. So they actually, I'll give them a little bit of credit because I never knew this until I was doing this research.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of logic put into why it's those 3 guys.
And also, Hogan doesn't show up on every show, so it's not that weird that he's not
But he's
here.
still the biggest star.
Yeah.
So you would think that they would be like, well, if we have this going on, we need Hogan here.
Yeah.
And so Hogan would show up and save the day, basically. Because that's what Hogan does.
That's all he's ever done.
Yeah. So Michael Buffer does the introduction, so let's get ready to take over!
Woo, hostily, though, please.
So the Outsiders' third man doesn't come out with them. So Mean Gene confronts them in the ring. And Hall says the third man is here, and he's ready. But they have enough to handle WCW by themselves. So Scott and Luger start us off shoving each other, and then they start trading slaps and forearms. And Lex knocks Nash off the apron, allowing Hall to attack from behind, sending Luger out to the floor. But when he returns to the apron, he clotheslines Scott and tries for Kevin, only for Nash to grab hold of him. Savage would fly in with a double axe handle to Hall, while a stinger splash is nailed on Kevin, only for Lex to be crushed in the process as well, causing him to fall out to the floor, unconscious.
Total package my ass.
Sting goes to check on Lex, while Macho brawls with Scott on the floor, ramming him into the guardrail. And medical personnel finally come out to stretcher Luger away.
He's out cold.
With his teammates looking on, when Hall would come over to attack Lex.
Now it's even, but it might be like the weakest excuse for a stretcher job.
Yeah.
I wonder if the guy who gets stretchered off might return.
Could he be the third man? That'd be a pretty sick swerve.
Time will tell.
So the match will get going again after Luger is rolled off, with Sting going to town on Scott, delivering atomic drops and a faceplant.
And Tony Schiavone finally says the names, Nash and Hall.
Savage flies in with an axe handle, only for Hall to nail him in the gut on the way down. Scott goes to pick a fight with the Stinger, allowing Nash to come in with snake eyes on Macho Man. And Savage fires back with a clothesline to Hall for a 2 count, but Scott is able to make the tag, bringing in Kevin, who takes control with forearms and body slams. And Nash goes for an elbow drop, only for Macho to move late, so he still gets hit, but does make it to the corner to tag the Stinger in.
Yeah, that one looked a little bit ugly. I was trying to figure out if Savage forgot he was supposed to move and then tried to do it too late, or if the timing was just off, or what. They were at the wrong angle, but yeah, he's lucky he didn't end up with a fucked up neck or something, because
it's a close one.
Kevin goes to work on Sting with elbows and knees in the corner, chokes with a boot, only for the Stinger to leap up and over a charging Nash to hit a dropkick. Sting then goes for a sunset flip, but Kevin stays up, picks up the Stinger by the throat, and tosses him down to the mat. And Savage keeps running in to try and stop the attack, but all it does is cause a ref distraction, allowing the Outsiders to continue the punishment with fallaway slams and big boots.
As Bobby Heenan says, we're in deep sand. That's it. He was going to say we're in deep shit because heels are cutting off and beating down the baby faces.
Sting ducks a clothesline and nails a drop kick to the knee of Nash. Hall runs in with an elbow to the back of Stinger's head to stop the tag. Scott also hits Macho with a right hand, which brings him in, only for the ref to stop him, all while Sting has rolled up Hall for a very late 1 count. Scott with several elbow drops and locks on an ab stretch with leverage, before Nash comes in to do the same, until a rake of the eyes allows the Stinger to escape. Hall hits a clothesline before applying a headlock, then tosses Sting out to the floor while Savage grabs a chair and tries to use it, only for the ref to stop him.
I mean, Savage doing the Lord's work over here, making this beatdown section of the match really mean something. As if, everyone's not already pulling for him.
Back in the ring, Scott continues with right hands for a 2 count. Kevin with elbows across the back and a sidewalk slam for a near fall. Nash hits multiple turnbuckle smashes and sends the Stinger to the ropes, but telegraphs a back body drop, allowing Sting to kick him away and fire up with chops and right hands before diving to his corner for the hot tag. Savage cleans house with a double axe handle, a double noggin knocker, and tosses Hall out to the floor before pounding on Nash. He then leaps off the top rope to the floor with another double axe handle onto Scott.
Get him, Mach.
Macho rolls Hall in and goes up top for a third double axe handle back into the ring. He then grabs Kevin only for him to go low to stop the momentum. And all of a sudden, Hulk Hogan is walking out to the ring,
Biggest Hulk pop in years.
sending the outsiders bailing to the floor. And the Immortal One looks around before turning and leg dropping Savage multiple times.
Holy shit.
Before giving a thumbs up and high fives to the outsiders.
He's the third man.
The Hulkster throws the ref out of the ring before nailing another leg drop, making a cover, with Hall making the count. But the match is officially considered a no contest. Post-match, the fans begin to pelt the ring with trash as the three men celebrate.
I love Bobby Heenan. What have I been saying all these years?
We see Sting pull Macho out of the ring and help him to the back. And at this point, they cut it from the show, or what's on the network. But a fan would jump in the ring, so Nash would immediately nail him with a forearm, followed by Hall stomping the fan out of the ring. So if you actually watch, you'll, like, all of a sudden,
Yeah, like a quick cut.
they're celebrating, and then it's cut, and you'll see a bunch of the security, like, walking back and forth in front of the front row, because they're basically grabbing him and getting rid of the guy.
The last time there was real heat, brother.
Mass transit, the early days.
Gene gets into the ring, and he asks what the hell Hogan is thinking. And Hulk says he needs to tell the people to shut up if they want to hear his answer. Hogan calls the outsiders the future. He says this is the new world order of wrestling. These men came from that company up north. And who knows that place better than Hogan? Hulk says he made that promotion and its owner rich. But then he became bigger than the whole organization. Then billionaire Ted would promise him movies, money, and world-caliber matches. But Hogan says he was bored with it all. He wanted the outsiders as his friends because they're the new blood. And he promises they will rule the wrestling business. They will destroy everything in their path. And then Gene points out all the crap in the ring, with Hogan saying it just represents the fans. He spent 2 years doing everything for charities and kids. And Hogan tells the fans to stick it.
Fans can stick it, brother.
They wouldn't be there without him. He also says Bischoff and the Johnny-come-latelys wouldn't be there without him. Hogan then forgets the name of their new group, calling it the New World Organization. We then get Tony, Dusty, and Bobby commiserating over what just happened, with Shivani saying it's the end of Hulkamania and telling him to go straight to hell as we go to credits.
I mean, this match is the best commentary Tony Schiavone's done to this point.
Yes.
Because they're all against these evil sons of bitches coming in here and fucking with the WCW and powerbombing their boss, and then the cherry on top is being disgusted by Hulk Hogan. But, you know, Tony Schiavone sounds present, angry.
Mm-hmm.
It's great to see him and Bobby on the same side.
So some fun third man notes.
Fire away.
Bring it.
I'm sure we've all heard the Mabel rumor. That was one that was floated out there.
Why would anybody think that would happen?
I think at this point it's just a joke. They probably didn't think about it for very long.
But there was also rumors that it was going to be Bret Hart.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly, because he was actually in the middle of a contract negotiation.
Yeah.
Obviously, wasn't him. They actually also, if Hogan, because Hogan had creative control in his contract.
And he had been pushing off turning heel forever.
And basically, I mentioned to you guys at one point that he actually changed matches in the middle of matches because of that control. Like the World War III match. He was supposed to go over the top rope and be eliminated for Macho to win. But he decided in the middle of the match to roll under the ring. And so he literally would change matches in the middle of them because he could.
Yeah.
Okay?
They couldn't fire him over.
So they literally had a backup plan ready to go if Hogan had decided to say no.
To actually start working over the outsiders and helping Macho up or whatever.
Correct.
Because he could have.
He literally could have come down and saved the day, basically.
And probably took everything in his fucking, big orange body not to do that.
If that had happened, Sting would have been the third man, turning Sting heel. Now, thinking ahead and knowing Hogan, that means that the New World Order probably would have been done by Starrcade.
Yeah, they would have.
Because Hogan would have just beat down Sting at Starrcade, and the whole run would have been over.
They would have had tag teams and taken down Hall and Nash, shit all over him, and then finished off Sting and move on.
So literally, the only reason the New World Order will last as long as it did is because Hogan was willing to turn heel.
It's the only way it really works with Hogan in this company.
Yeah,
and it's the biggest
it
biggest heel turn
with Sting in there, I'm sure, but it wouldn't have had the same impact.
No,
I mean, I think it would have had an impact.
It's the best option outside of Hogan, probably. Yeah, just in general.
Because the way the matches actually worked. I mentioned it when Luger gets stretchered back. That actually, if at the moment, taking myself back to 27 years ago,
feels like
in the moment, I could totally see Luger walking back out, being like, "I'm fine," and then getting in the ring, and then just turning on Sting and Macho.
And Luger and Sting have had contentious relationship for the last year anyway. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So it makes sense. The Hogan turn twist is legitimately.
That would have been the third or fourth option that would have. It would have made sense in the moment, but Hogan, Sting, Bret Hart, I can't think of anybody else that really would have made a whole lot of sense.
Hogan's the biggest one.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Bret Hart, but he's not Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan being a heel for the first time since he's been Hulk Hogan.
I guess technically probably the biggest name would have been if Shawn Michaels hadn't been champion and he was coming over to WCW, but I think it would have been known that he was... If he had lost the belt all of a sudden, it would have been kind of like, oh, I wonder if it's Shawn Michaels.
And Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart
Brian Pillman
are still not Hulk Hogan. The amount of people that Hulk Hogan turning heel brings in, lapsed fans, it's just, it's obviously the best answer.
Yeah.
For good or bad, as we all know about the huge money expenditures and how large this thing goes on to be in a bad way, where everybody is in the goddamn NWO.
Yeah.
So I ask you, gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts of Bash at the Beach 1996?
For a WCW show, this was pretty solid all around. I had a fun time rewatching this one. I'm trying to think of horrible moments, and everything kind of played along nicely. You got storytelling, you've got history in the making, you've got nasties and whatever their names are, public enemies fighting, and I didn't hate it. Yeah, it's a very, very watchable, easily watchable show with one of the biggest finishes in wrestling history ever.
Yeah, there's a couple of really solid, fun matches on here. There's a couple of things that feel pretty WCW, but it's rising tide lifts all ships or whatever. And by the end of the show, you forget about the sock on a pole match after the NWO. After Hogan comes out and drops the leg. Yeah. It washes a lot of that away. And what I'm left with is
I think everything on this show probably could have just been shit. And it wouldn't matter.
Yeah. But we get a great...
But it wasn't.
We get a great, really fun Ric Flair Konnan match. We get great Rey and Psychosis. We get Dean Malenko and Disco Inferno is really fun. And then there's Mongo and fucking Tenta and stuff like that where I'm like, feel like they don't outstay their welcome, but it might just be rose-colored glasses because of
they served their purpose in the pacing of the show.
So obviously the storyline of the formation of the NWO is the biggest thing in modern day wrestling history, and it's done so well.
Yep.
taking myself back to 27 years ago, Hogan walks down that aisle. You're like, Hogan's here to save us. And then he turns and drops...
You've been conditioned to believe that for so long.
And he turns and drops that leg on Macho, and it's like...
Instant
holy
nuclear
fuck,
heat.
what just happened?
Yeah. The only thing that is almost on the same level of shock was the streak being broken. Because you didn't expect it to happen when it happened with who it happened with.
Yeah.
It was just one of those, what the fuck just happened here? Where did my childhood go? I never would have predicted Hulk Hogan to...
If it doesn't happen,
to turn.
The WWF probably never becomes a fucking billion-dollar company. Like, because this invigorates everything. And Hogan just would have continued to run people off, staying face or whatever. No, like, he's not... People aren't fucking stoked on him. Wrestling's not in a really great position right now. But after tonight, it is. Like... That moment, is like made more money for Vince McMahon than it ever made anybody else in that in WCW.
I mean, it made quite a bit of money for a lot of the boys.
Yes,
that were there.
But
But as we were saying, the undercard, there's lots of variety. Mm-hmm. Like you have your luchador match, you have your. I thought the double dog collar match was fun. Mm-hmm. Using the shark and the tables and the beach set, like
using two teams that I typically roll my eyes at or can't wait until they're off my screen. I sat there and I even had a moment while I was watching it of, am I just really high or am I really enjoying this match? Because I was sitting there watching it, not bitching and complaining.
The main event is not the only thing worth watching on the show. Like you said, it's a very fun show, very easy watch. It flows completely. It
definitely flows. It doesn't, yeah. There's some shows you watch and you're like, yeah, there's two great matches on here, watch these matches. This show, there's a sock on a pole match, for Christ's sake. But even the sock on a pole match isn't as bad as it should have been. Honestly. Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Hart shuffling up there, kind of fun.
This was the first time that I can remember WCW actually delivering on something, because all their storylines in the past, it was, the White Castle of Fear, it was the spin the wheel, make a deal, and you end up with a stupid ass coal miner's glove on a pole match.
It was the Hogan coming back and them doing like a half-ass shitty version of the Mega Powers and never committing to it or pulling it off, or you like they did it in the past. They knew how to do it right. They didn't.
They may have
made it stunk
overboard with the who's the third man, who's the third man, who's the third man. But it was because they were giving you a payoff that nobody would have ever expected up until that point. So
with that payoff
to WCW for actually coming through with something and not making it just a shit finish like we've come to know through WCW over the last few years.
In this moment, Hulk Hogan saved wrestling. Love him or hate him.
Weird.
Just being a little bit of a shithead, but it's kind of true.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? There. All right. Fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So, what are some of the best moments of this show?
I mean, I've never been a champion for him, but Hogan's promo at the end there was
one of his best promos.
One of the best I can remember of him doing, and the most passionate performances I've seen out of him in all of his time in wrestling and all of his TV shows and all of his movies.
Especially in WCW.
Yes.
This is his best promo since he's been in WCW.
And he's also easily. This is the most stale Hogan's fucking ever been. And he comes out and he blames the fans and also tells them that none of them would be here. None of them would be even fucking watching wrestling or like wrestling if it wasn't for him, which is true for the most part.
And then it's just
and here's what you get for not appreciating me.
Instant fresh.
Yeah, no shit. Couldn't be any fresher.
No. The table that demanded to be acknowledged.
Right. That table. I felt so bad for the guys.
Yeah.
That table just would not break. Rey and Psychosis.
Yeah.
Starting off the show right.
It's a great start. I'm going to give... This is probably the only time we're going to be able to give Disco Inferno his flowers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. You told me that because I was like, I don't know. I just assumed he was trash. And I was like, he's in there to Dean Malenko, but That's a good match.
I mean, if he
That's one of
if
the
he,
better
if he has
matches
another
of the
good match, we will color me surprised.
Yeah, it's kind of like with Johnny B. Bad. Everybody always shits on him like today, but you go back and you watch it and like he's super important to WCW and like starts to get pretty like he does solid work and people are into him and he has solid matches like on every show like consecutively.
How long did Honky Tonk Man last? Not as long as Johnny B. Bad.
There's a reason that they wanted Johnny B. Bad. They wanted Mark Marrow in WWF.
Honky Tonk Man.
And that's because of what he was doing.
Character lasted for decades, but as far as relevancy goes, no. He was about a year and a half or however long his Intercontinental Championship reign was.
He can't do that sunset off the top.
No.
Pole vaulting competition.
Horny Gene.
Yeah.
I mean, we make fun of him, but he's such a lovable old man that it just makes it fun.
I mean, Mean Gene's the best. There's nothing better than like compilation clips of Mean Gene outtakes on the YouTube. They're so good. They're so fun. You can send those to somebody that doesn't even know or care about wrestling at all, and they will thank you. Then they also know who Mean Gene is. Everybody knows who Mean Gene is, and everybody will. Yeah, it's a good way to spend 6 minutes.
I mean, there's lots of good moments on the show.
Rick gave a lot to Konnan, and that was a fun match. I like K-Dog's been fun lately. He's a big old boy. He's a big boy and he can move. He looks serious as hell. He's got like stone cold face, you know what I mean? Where like everything is serious as shit.
How about most disappointing? Gomez and Mongo.
I would say that mine's very similar, but it's that Gomez is a nobody that nobody knows. And he still has better punches than a lot of guys working today. So maybe they were just real punches. I don't know. But that's the flowers he'll get from me.
I mean, I feel like Gomez was probably at the power plant training with Mongo, and so they were like, okay, we'll put him in there with someone that he's trained with and comfortable with. But for his first solo match, which, I mean, it may not be his first solo match, but
his first pay-per-view match.
Pay-per-view solo match. Put him in there with someone that can help lead the match.
Yeah.
Mongo can.
It makes him, like...
Poor Mongo. He peaked with Gomez. And vice versa.
Plus the fact that Mongo's dealing with someone that's hanging out with the Renegade tells you how low everyone thinks of Mongo already.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Renegade. Can't even get camera time anymore.
You know, we did say that the Mongo angle on the last pay-per-view was great. It's just a shame that it was Mongo. And
but I also said Kevin Green was the better of the two of them.
Yeah, Kevin Green didn't already have a contract. He was just
he wasn't still a football player.
Yeah,
he would probably be the fourth horseman.
Yeah, he's a cooler looking dude too. He's got a better look.
The video package that they did for the third man deal,
video package was
just
lackluster.
Yeah,
I mean they're about to have a reason to put some more money and time into these things, so we'll see how they go. But I mean, this is a brand new world.
There was no production value in it whatsoever. It was just a couple of still shots that are blended together.
Yeah, the fake newspaper gimmicks are very funny and trite.
It's like the slideshow with the worst
80s.
music possible.
Yeah,
let's do a fucking narrator, guys.
That works in like bad period piece movies. That works in the newsies.
They could have just taken that same thing and put like 2 words from each segment that each photo represented. You know, hey yo, billionaire Ted, third guy, third man, something. But just the silent slideshow or the wordless slideshow with cheesy elevator music didn't do it for me.
So one of the more disappointing moments for me is, and I didn't mention it because I didn't really know how to put it into the notes, but when Hogan is walking out, Heenan actually says, but whose side is he on?
Yep, I had that in my notes too. I didn't get it in, but he yells it out. He asks the question, but it's something that Bobby Heenan would always do anyway.
But it was kind of like if you don't say that line, I think it hits. I mean, it hits hard. Don't get me wrong.
But I think Bobby says that stuff all the time anyway. So it might just be hindsight. But I do know what you mean.
But even to put that, like, just that
doubt in your head.
Until
it happens, yeah.
Yeah.
He could have held back.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's also just built into Bobby's DNA because he would do that, and 99% of the time there wouldn't be a turn.
Oh yeah,
because he does it to everybody. But but it does happen this time.
Yeah. How about best performer of the night?
I don't know. That's tough. It's a bunch of good performances. I was giving it up to. I mean, Macho knows how important this angle is, and Macho is always a great guy to have on the apron during a tag team match. But he's doing the Lord's work out there, milking this for everything. Because like before Hogan ever comes out, the crowd is fucking batshit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm torn between. It's like a three-way tie for me. You know, I never praise him, but Hogan's promo at the end was very compelling to me.
This is the first time he did the best thing for the business, probably. Not the first, but you know what I mean.
The table. And then Shivani. Just because of his...
That last match.
Yeah, his...
Vitriol for the outsiders.
That and just the way he ended the show. You know, everybody was speechless and in a somber mood, and Tony just spit out a few words and sent us on our way, which...
He said what we were all thinking.
Yes.
Yeah, like I said, it's the best Tony performance I've ever heard, and it's basically just the very last match of the show. Outside of that, he's basically Tony.
I say my wrestling best performer is Malenko.
Oh yeah,
because he takes Inferno to a good match. I'm gonna say it again, possibly the best Inferno match that you're probably ever going to see.
Yep.
But I think because of the ramifications of the moment, I think it is Hogan.
I mean, he could have done that and then shit the bed on the promo. He didn't shit the bed on the promo.
If he shits the bed on the promo,
he did the best.
Like it doesn't hit.
The best
doesn't hit as hard as it.
His fumbling over the name of it at the end.
No big deal.
Doesn't bother me.
No one's ever heard it before. This is the first time it was said. That was the second time it was said.
Like literally, they could have come out the
wrong.
next night and said it was New World Organization instead of New World Order. I mean, New World Order sounds better. Don't get me wrong,
but yeah, I mean, essentially it means the same thing. But it's the most believable Hogan, because even the prayers and vitamins and all that stuff, it's like more over the top, and he's still over the top. He's Hogan. He's got the big voice. He says brother all the time, but there's some like real world truth in some of this promo that makes complete sense. His turn makes the psychology is completely understandable, and give it to him. Best leg drop we ever had. Whether it looked good or not, I don't remember. But that fucking pop, yeah.
That's another thing. He did 3 leg drops without even hulking up first. So give the man his flowers.
How nice was it to not see him hulk up?
And most surprising, I mean, that one's definitely Hogan.
Yeah. I didn't expect the promo to be that good. I've seen like the leg drop clip or whatever.
See, I haven't watched the promo in forever, so I forgot how good it was. I mean, the Hogan turn obviously surprising then, not anywhere near surprising now. But the fact that I think I'm most surprised that I gave Hogan a compliment for his contribution to the show.
I mean, we have not shat on Hogan at all on the show.
But
no, wait. I kind of made fun of him with I was more making fun of Mean Gene when he heard the voices and he was like, "Did he say brother a lot?"
Yeah, that was But I'd never seen this match before. It is a masterstroke of American wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Completely, just like done so perfectly. The biggest flaw I think in that match is that the Lex bump didn't look stretcher worthy, but hey, doesn't matter. But after he's gone, you don't even you might think he's the third man or whatever, but out of sight, out of mind, because the angle's over so hot already, and then somebody comes to save wrestling, but not necessarily save the WCW.
Making their way to the ring.
It's trivia time.
Uh-oh.
So this week, the category is The Champ is Here.
The champ is here! The champ is here!
Charlie Norris.
R.I.P.
Oh, yeah, he did just die. Rest in peace, Charlie Norris.
So 5 points for a correct answer. 3 points if we go to multiple choice. I will give you a show and the champion. You give me who the champion was at the end of that show. Okay?
All right.
Cat.
So the show is Clash of the Champions 27.
Shit.
And the title is the WCW International World Heavyweight Championship.
27, you say.
Shane?
Damn it. Go ahead.
I'm just going for Flair because I can't remember.
That is correct.
I was going to ring in.
Hey.
I was going to go Sting or Flair.
I was trying to remember if he had lost it to anybody while he had it, but...
Flair had defeated Sting on that show to unify
the
the
titles.
two heavyweight titles.
Damn.
And then he would go on to 28, like we mentioned last week,
And
to
lose it
face
to-
Hogan.
Bam, bam, bam.
Next week, WCW Monday Night Nitro from July 8th, 1996.
This is the show after the inauguration
The
of
morning after.
the New World Order.
That's right. Music for this week's show is Crazed by Nonstop Producer Series. And it was the production music that they played at the beginning of the show. And it was the music that the Outsiders used as their music
Oh, okay.
But we
for
didn't have a winner.
at this moment. But they were standing tall.
Okay.
How long till we get Voodoo Child?
I'm sure it's pretty soon.
Maybe next week. Who knows?
If you like this episode or any of our other ones, please rate and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you find your podcasts at. If you have any questions, comments, concerns,
Recipes, drink ideas, thoughts, queries. If what did you think of this show? Did you have a totally different take?
is there any other third man rumors that I didn't mention?
Probably a million.
What was your favorite match on the show?
Crush.
Oh,
Good God, that was so.
that's a tough one. They'd be like, who? What?
Yeah.
Everybody would just walk. Everybody would just leave.
He'll have his moment. I don't think he was even cool enough to get in the NWO. So
He was.
was he? Okay. Well, that says a lot about the NWO in the days.
I'm pretty sure Brian Adams was in the NWO. I'm like, if you say someone was in the NWO, you pretty much have a 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
It's so crazy that like,
Maybe even more like 80-20, because
you have something that,
literally, other than DDP,
yeah,
I think everybody at some point was in the NWO.
Yeah.
except for Sting.
He joined the Wolfpack.
Oh
the
shit!
Wolfpack.
Yeah, fuck. That sucks. Yeah, red makeup. Sting should have been the guy. Never.
I mean, I guess technically Arn didn't, but that's because he gets hurt and doesn't
Yeah.
wrestle anymore.
Damn.
But if you have any of those things, you can email us at wrestlinghistoryx@gmail.com or find us on Twitter at WrestlingHistoX. That's Wrestling HISTOX. We'll talk to you next week.
I'm Tony Shane Avani. Hulk Hogan, you can go to hell. You can go straight to hell. We're out of here. Laters.